Okay, so to my surprise, jumped on the Regal app the other day, and there is a double feature of both.
Magic Mike movies.
Yes. Dude, the day all the Magic Mike movies go back into theater, I'm taking you with me, and we're watching.
I've never seen a single second in any of them.
Magic Mike 2 is one of my favorite movies.
I refuse to believe that. I think you're just trying to trick me into getting me all horned up in the movie theater.
All right, I could go on about Magic Mike 2 for a while, so let's not get sidetracked. There are Superman, the movie, and Superman 2, the Donner cut, are both playing at our local Regal. I have no idea why, but they're both playing, and I think that's awesome. So I saw that the other day, and I immediately messaged you, and I'm like, yo, we got to go check these movies out.
So, how many... Have you seen these before? Like, have you seen the entirety of both of them before? Have you seen the Donner cut? Like, what's your...
Yeah, so I have seen Superman 1 and Superman 2, not the Donner cut, when I was in... I was in the range of 5 to 8.
A wee lad.
And I saw both of these movies once. I remember liking the first one a lot more, because the second one just felt like...
Famously a nightmare.
It was...
both on screen and behind set.
I just remember not loving it as much as a kid. But I honestly have virtually no memory... Oh, that was a big pothole. I virtually have no memory of either of these movies. I remember them for their cultural significance. You know, it's like I know them culturally because these movies are known.
It's like everybody knows like a little bit about Harry
Yeah.
Potter. You just can't, whether you've seen it or not, you just know, you're aware of it.
Exactly. But honestly, I'm ashamed to say, like, I've not gone back and rewatched these movies. I don't know them very well. So that's where I'm coming into these movies at. What about you? Oh, I'm running this yellow.
No, you got it. No, it's fine.
Oh,
You were definitely, it's definitely fine.
That was red as hell. Man.
Yeah, it's okay though. It's fine. Then we're going to Superman. We're gonna go see Superman. It's fine. I've seen I for sure haven't seen the second one, Donner cut or otherwise.
Yeah.
The first one I've seen snippets of on TV or just, in passing with family or whatever. Really the only, the most I'm aware of it is that South Park episode where Christopher Reeves and Gene Hackman have switched roles and Christopher Reeves is running around sucking the stem cells out of babies so he can walk again, and he turns into a monster, and Gene Hackman comes down to try to stop him and talk against stem cell research. That's how much I know about these two movies. I don't know, I mean, obviously I'm aware of the score. One of the best superhero scores of all time.
Right.
And how it's been worked into some of the more modern stuff and everything. I'm aware of some of this stuff, but all in all, this is more or less going to be a first viewing for me on both of these.
Honestly, same. Because again, it's with these movies, it's like everybody has, quote, seen them culturally because they're so infused in just our pop culture. You just know of them. But I'm really excited to see this with fresh eyes. I can't fathom that I haven't gone back and watched this since I was a kid. That honestly is crazy to me. But regardless, I'm really excited to check these out.
All right. Let's do it. We'll get back with you between so we're going to have a little break in between the first and the second one.
Yeah,
we're going to come back to the car. We're going to come out, give you guys first thoughts on number one, and then we're going to come back afterwards and give thoughts on number two on the drive home. You guys get a special on the road, little road show episode of the podcast.
2 hours later.
All right, so we just got out.
We did.
Yeah.
We did indeed.
So what...
Long.
It was a very long movie.
It's a long movie. There's a lot of faffing about in that movie.
You feel the length of it. Hold on, before the movie even started, what happened?
Oh, okay. So in keeping with the trend of bad movie-going experiences, different theater, completely different town, we go in and right away there's evidence outside of our particular theater room that there was a Mario-themed children's birthday party. As we were walking in, I was like, all right, this is probably gonna be a little bit of a mess. We go in, and hanging right to the far right side of the screen from the ceiling, just dangling there, the remnants of an ill-conceived birthday party, was had to have been a 3-foot tall balloon of Mario.
It was multiple balloons, combined together.
A cluster of Mario balloons just bumping against the ceiling. And as the little previews and everything is starting to wind down, we notice that the balloon is starting to, he's been grabbed by the gravity of a ceiling fan next to him, and he's slowly inching towards his demise until eventually he's just eviscerated. Mario, we started this movie, Mario got decapitated right in front of us on a ceiling fan.
It's all happening.
This thing is nicer than my apartment.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Broke the fan, it just stopped working, and then it just hung there. We watched it slowly rotate and then just stop as close to the middle of the screen as it could stop. I was sitting there looking at it, I was like, there's no way, right? There's no way that just happened to us, like, and it's just gonna stay there the whole, like, nobody, you got up, what did the guy tell you when you went up to go, like, say something about it?
I told him, I was like, hey man, there's a balloon dangling from the ceiling fan and it's blocking like a quarter of the screen.
A significant portion of the screen.
And he just kind of moaned about it a little bit, came in and saw it, turned off the fan, and then like 20 minutes later, maybe 15 minutes, it wasn't that long, maybe it was like 10 minutes.
It was at least 15 minutes.
Maybe like 15, 20
I think other
minutes.
people went. I saw other people go, like, we're gone for an extended period of time.
They must have. But yeah, like 20 minutes went by, and then they came in. What are those, like, grabber things where you, like, have, like, it's like a handle you squeeze and, like, the end closes and it, like, grabs stuff?
Yeah.
That, like,
just
old people keep around, grabs, like, their keys and stuff.
He had the pro version of it.
Yeah, he had the pro. They came in with, like, a 20-foot long one of those things and pulled the balloon off the ceiling.
In the middle of the movie. Didn't
In the middle,
apologize,
yeah, no.
didn't say anything. He got an absolute smattering of applause.
Woo! Yeah. Pulled the damn balloon off the ceiling like it's one of those giant, like, hooks pulling someone off a Broadway stage. So that was an event. But once that was done, then we could get fully into the movie.
Not even that giant Mario corpse balloon was enough to stop me from being just entranced by Marlon Brando's lengthy diatribes about the state of affairs on Krypton.
Did you like my random fun facts about Marlon Brando's eating habits?
That was pretty great.
Don't take me to a movie that has Marlon Brando and not expect me to spit facts about his bizarre habits regarding his food.
Gallons of peanut butter, just ripping pants open left and right. Just
Dude, 52. Mutiny on the Bounty. He ripped 52 pairs of pants on that movie.
That's preposterous. That's, at some point you just gotta say, hey, you know what, fuck it, we're just not filming it from the waist down. He gets to do this in his underoos. I don't care.
He broke 50 and they were like, you know what? No, let's give him another chance.
They gave him 2 more chances after 50. He's putting up Bill Cosby numbers on these pants. And they let him keep going.
But anyway, so Superman.
I love that Marlon Brando, right away, he's only really at the start, he is surrounded by people who know how to say Krypton right. And he never stopped saying Krypton. Yeah. Krypton is doomed. Like, he just will not say it the right way. At some level, I respect that.
That's the dedication of a man who blows through 52 pairs of pants.
51 certainly will be the one. The likes of that dedication will never be seen again.
But yeah, he was great in this. Like, it was, I feel like this is right before the point in his career where he really started to not care.
See, I've always heard, like, stuff about this movie, about, like, all of these movies.
Yeah.
And, like, he's always, like, pitched as someone who he's phoning it in. He doesn't care. Like,
Ripping pants.
Yeah, just devouring Skippy peanut butter all day. But he was fine. I liked him.
He was really good.
His lengthy little diatribes about just politics and the state of everything, and you'll carry on my legacy, and I think it was fine.
I thought he was great. The opening, first of all, like, I remember all of this movie. Like, I think I'm thinking of the second movie that I haven't seen a lot, because I've definitely seen that multiple times. Like, I remembered almost all of it.
Yeah.
But I did forget how long the opening sequence was on Krypton. I thought that was just a Man of Steel thing where they really spent some time there.
This whole, like, the first third of this movie was very Man of Steel.
Yeah, very. Very.
Did you like that little scene where he's got that same... I think if you go back and watch Justice League, when he comes back to the farm and he meets Lois and Ma Kent again, that one of the most touching scenes in any superhero movie. But he's got that same red flannel, and it's shot very, very similarly. I never noticed that because I'd never seen this before.
I was thinking of the exact same thing when I saw that. Yeah, that was phenomenal. But yeah, the whole beginning of this movie, I loved. I loved the way it handled him, his dual citizenship. Like, I really, really liked that. And I think we're both thinking the same thing, how much better his dad dying.
Oh my God. He actually learned a lesson.
It was so impactful.
It was nothing he could do about it. It was just... that's just how people are. Like, that's him just learning how fragile humanity is, and you can lose loved ones at the drop of a hat.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and he couldn't, all his, like, what he says, like, all this power I have, I couldn't save him. Like,
perfect.
That was a great lesson to learn.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, the connection between his parents, him and his mom, had me tearing up when he was leaving home. Oh my God. Like, all of, like...
It was so sweet.
It was so
so short. It was so brief. You didn't really get to be around them that much, and it was still very sweet, very heartwarming.
Really, really good. All of that was fantastic. The thing I leaned over to you in the theater, because I didn't remember this. I didn't realize...
that Ned Beatty was in this movie.
How crazy. Crazy. Like, who is this person that's carrying this movie on his back? It's Ned Beatty. But no, I never realized there was such a time jump. I mean, I remember there being a time jump, and I never really understood that. But seeing it now as a grown person, like, I realized there's a 12-year time jump. And I took it as he was taking him around the galaxy. So he said, "Let me show you the galaxy. Let me show you the world. Let me show you all this stuff." And what did you?
My first thought was that he just stood there for 12 years learning in that exact same spot. Like, I don't think he went. I mean, like, I think that's why he was like stacking all those crystals in his little baby, his intergalactic baby carriage.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was hilarious. I won't say a lot about the special effects. A lot of the model work and the set design and everything in this is phenomenal.
Really good.
His little Kryptonian rocket ship baby carriage is hilarious.
Little tree gumball.
The way it just busts out of the ceiling. It's just, and then just floats around like a little piñata and he's just tumbling around in it the whole time while I was listening to Marlon Brando just wax poetic about the history of the galaxy.
I was a little bit confused about that, like, because like Superman doesn't have like super knowledge or anything like that. So why was Marlon Brando on a loop, like, just teaching him all this stuff
he has a
he didn't remember?
Memory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That's like an older, like, Silver Age comic book
gotcha.
kind of a thing. And they do it a little bit in the New 52, but it's mostly like an older.
Okay.
Like, when this would have been the comics they were pulling from, he has a photographic, like,
that
infallible
makes sense.
memory.
Because I really liked that. I'm like, that's cool that his intellect is better, or is beefed up because of like his Kryptonian knowledge. I thought that was interesting.
But he just had to do it all over again.
Yeah,
when he got to the Fortress
that's
of Solitude.
what I'm saying. Like, he didn't remember any of it. So I was a little bit confused about that. Also, bold move to have him be like fucking 6 and have him come out fully naked.
Full hog, dude. Full hog.
That was a naked boy.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't shy away. They really held on that shot for a minute, too. That was odd.
That was very uncomfortable.
I had to, like, I physically, my body, like, I didn't look away from the screen. My body, like, turned. I was like, oh, boy. Like, if this goes one more second, I'm looking away. I can't.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice. I would not have made
Baby wiener, you can get away with in a movie.
Yeah.
Like a quick, someone's got a newborn baby. It's like, all right, we'll let that
societally
slide.
we're fine with that.
He was like 6.
He was like 6.
That's way too much.
That was not cool.
That's way too much.
I did not like that.
I love how his Ma Kent just immediately was like, we're just going to steal him.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any family around here. You just got here. I loved that. She's like, right. He's like, and Pa Kent, what a soul. It was just, Martha, we can't just take this kid. Come on now. What do you think? Like, he was so calm about it. He's like, he didn't react how anybody would react. Like, are you suggesting that we steal this kid we found 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, anything with them was just fantastic. And another thing I mentioned to you in the movie, I didn't realize his mom's name was Martha Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Martha Clark Kent, are you listening to what I'm saying?
Yeah, her middle name's Clark.
I had no idea.
Is that in the comics?
This is the first I'm hearing about it. I had no idea that was a thing.
It can't be.
There's no way. But yeah, everything in Smallville from start to finish, I love. I just really liked it. They were just baking the morals into him, just the Superman nature. It's just, all of it was just really good. I really, really liked all that.
Got a little Lana Lang shout out in there.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like that. It's a fun little
Really cool.
little cameo appearance, kind of building out the world a little bit. So he goes into the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
And he sits there for 12 years,
Yes.
learning everything. And then he emerges from his little knowledge cocoon.
Yeah.
A 30-year-old high schooler goes into this cocoon. 12 years later, comes out a 35-year-old grown man. He's different, man.
Which, actually, back it up for a second, how did he know to just throw the crystal? I remember being confused about that when I was a kid, and I'm still confused about it now.
I mean, I like a lot of this movie doesn't just like give you stuff like, you know, there's no like the little title cards for every city. There's not like explaining everything, but that you needed a little, because we saw him look like really, Marlon Brando really gazed at that crystal.
Yeah.
Before he put it in there. It was clearly, you know, a different one. And then he just finds it in the basement, no talk of it. Where are all the other crystals?
Yeah.
Why did you just save that one? And then he just throws it into the water right on top of a polar bear, like he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
There was no explanation how he knew what was going to happen there.
Also, it's so funny. Both of our minds went to that scene in Elf when he was floating on that
Oh, dude,
ice.
I was half a second away from leaning over and doing the exact same, bye, buddy, where did you find your dad?
That scene, shot for shot, they had to have had that in mind when Favreau filmed Elf. Like, there's no way they didn't have that in mind.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
But yeah, back to what you were saying about, like, you know, Superman when he emerges.
He comes out 5 years older.
Yes.
And then he's already got the costume on. He's already got, I mean, we kind of see him like little like shots of him like carrying it around. I guess he already had that suit that looks completely different than everybody else's clothes.
Yeah.
Or did he make that in there? Does it matter?
I would say it doesn't matter, but the way I gathered it is it was sent with him because he was sitting on, you know, a blue, gold, and red, like a little blanket when he like arrived. I assume that was that. His mom could have made it for him, but that doesn't.
We never get it.
We never.
You know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
Who cares?
What a suit! I love it.
Other than the Sharpie drawn S on the back of his cape,
Yeah,
I love the suit.
I
love the look of it. I like that it's just like silk or whatever. I like it. It's fun. It's simple. It's classic. I love the underpants on the outside. I like the belt on the underpants. I love it. It's a
so
great
good.
suit.
It's so classic. One thing I said too, like Christopher Reeve, like it's not a very flattering suit, but there were moments where you'd see him and like he's really big. He was really big. Like he was pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
I never realized that. He always, because like the suit makes you look scrawny, and it's not the most flattering of suits.
Yeah, it's baggy right where you don't want it to be, and tight right where you don't want it to be.
But he's got a very
he's a
commanding
big
presence.
dude.
Huge dude.
The thickest neck I think I've seen.
Until you pointed that out, then
preposterous.
that was all I could see was his neck.
We're sitting in the car, by the way, for anybody listening. If you hear just random noises and the audio is weird, it's because we're filming this on a phone in a car in between showings. We're about to go into the next one.
We're supposed to tell him that, dude. We're in the studio.
But yeah, tremendously thick neck. Love the little cowlick curl right here in the front. I mean, just all in all, all right. So Christopher Reeve. Let's talk about Christopher Reeve.
Yes.
Let's hit that. Let's just knock out all that because we don't have a ton of time on this one. Phenomenal.
So good.
He is so charming.
Oh my god.
He's so endearing. He's everything you want Superman to be.
Yeah.
He's hopeful and strong and a little. I've never seen a Superman more ready to give himself a little attaboy after everything he does. He just every time he does it, he just sits there for a sec, just to himself, just puts his hands on his hips and goes, yeah. I love it. I love it.
He's so phenomenal in this role. It's like, I mean, if you take away the iconic nature of it and all the pop culture baggage that goes along with this, he is just simply perfect in this role. He's so good. And like I think you agree on this, but like Henry Cavill's still my Superman. Like he's still my favorite Superman. But you just cannot touch Christopher Reeve in his own way. Like he pioneered the role of Superman.
Oh yeah.
He's incredible. It's insane how good he is in this.
Yeah, I mean, I have no notes for him, dude. His little transition from Clark Kent into Superman. Like you see it in one scene when he's in Lois's apartment, which, by the way, that whole scene is so horny.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably horny for a children's movie.
I did not pick up on that when I was a kid.
We'll get to Lois here in a minute. But that little, like, when he comes back around to check on how he just did as Superman.
Yeah.
He's knocking on the door. Lois, we were supposed to go. Like, he's doing his little voice. He's got, like, that little hunch. And you never really notice it until you see him, like, get that confidence for a second. He stands all the way up. He's like, he gets, like, a good, like, 3 or 4 inches. Like, he's slouching so much. And when he, like, to the way he just carries himself and changes his voice right away is like, oh, I love that little touch Christopher Reeves puts on that is awesome.
It's really incredible. Like that was the one bit I wanted to highlight the most is that little subtle change between Clark and Kal-El. It's phenomenal. So thoughtful. Something you could have easily not done. But the fact that they added that in, it's amazing.
I would love to know if that was Richard Donner or someone on set, or if that was Chris Reeves. I was like
very curious to know that.
Like added that little spice to it because that's just a fun little flavor on top of everything that really just like seals the deal for me. That really makes them so endearing.
That's one thing I felt was definitely lacking in. I mean, there wasn't really a chance for it in Man of Steel, but in I guess BVS and well, he wasn't in Justice League much, but like in BVS mainly, there's no real differentiation between Clark Kent and Superman.
No,
not really. And I wish they had brought some of that magic that Christopher Reeve put into the differentiation between those two characters. I wish they had brought that.
Yeah, just something to make him not this stacked supermodel journalist, whatever, coming in and then just be like, oh God, I hope Superman's okay. He just does nothing to change his appearance except throw on some sexy glasses.
Yeah.
He didn't even pick nerdy glasses. They're cool glasses. All right, so Lois.
Yeah.
Their first encounter when he saves her. I love it. I love the little transition. I love the classic ripping the shirt open. Obviously, I mean, just it hits all the right notes. It's awesome. He saves her, and then they set up for a little meet cute, little rendezvous, private interview. From the moment he gets there, the horniness. I mean, it starts at 5 and just quick ramps, like goes. It doesn't stop. And then she they're flying around. And she writes the horniest poem I have ever heard while they're flying around. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of the movie is spent on. That's a huge chunk.
That was a long sequence. I think back to what we were saying earlier. It's like this movie is very long, and it has very long sequences that don't need to be that long. And I'm sure people could say the same thing about Man of Steel, even though I don't feel that way. I'm sure you could say that about that movie as well. But like this one, maybe it was because the fans were turned off because the balloon, that the theater was hot, and I was hot. I was hot during this movie. That probably had something to do with it.
As Mario exploded the fans.
So that may have had something to do with it, but I felt the length, and especially during the flying scene and the horny poem. Like it was, it was long.
Went on and on.
It was long. It was horny. It was
All right, so for all our other kind of, just like a side note, for all our side actors, our little bit players and extras. Were they given the direction to just be the Three Stooges? Like everybody, every single person who wasn't one of the main cast was just doing Three Stooges the whole movie.
I mean, what happened was everyone showed up on set and was just blown away by Ned Beatty, and they're like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I'm going to do that.
We're just going to do that.
They're just going to do Ned Beatty.
Everybody was doing that.
So yeah, it was completely intentional.
Okay.
Everybody, as they should, was just copying Ned Beatty.
A little insider Hollywood thing where everybody was just pulled into the gravity of Ned Beatty.
In addition to all my Marlon Brando ripping pants facts, I also got a couple Ned Beatty facts in the pocket.
Honestly, appreciate that. Did your homework.
Finna bust those out as we go into round 2 here.
I leaned over to Andrew in the middle of it. I was trying to figure out, because I was mesmerized by the balloon for the opening credits. I was not looking at any of the credits, and I was looking at Lex Luthor's goofy little sidekick. I couldn't for the life of me figure out who it was for some reason. It just was not registering for me. And then it clicked, and I leaned over and I asked you, was that the senator from Shooter?
The most obvious of Ned Beatty pulls. The most obvious Ned Beatty pull you could go with.
I love Ned Beatty and a lot of the stuff he's in. Great, like, I guess character actor, really, you would say at this point.
Yeah.
I kind of, on some level, like what he did in this movie. Three Stooges, sans Two Stooges. But he detracts from Gene Hackman's role so much.
Yeah.
I mean, Gene Hackman's, like, I given it an honest go at this. Like, he is really, like, doing the serious, cocky, like, I'm going to be the greatest criminal in the world thing. Like, he's giving these long speeches and, like, setting up his things and just insulting everybody. And it's every scene. Ned Beatty is, like, Corncob, what's his fucking name? Stand behind it. Porky, what's his name? Ollie? Corncob? It's some shit.
His name was Otis.
Otis. Okay, cool. Otis is right behind him at the end of every plan, at every victory, at every defeat. Just there to, you did good, Mr. Luthor. Don't go what you sure got him. Well, he's just there to undercut every moment. Gene Hackman is going in, and it's just all so silly. I don't think it's often remembered that, like, Gene Hackman, this is a silly role.
Right.
It's not.
No.
For Gene Hackman.
Yeah,
and he's doing it straight. It's, again, pulled into the gravity well of Ned Beatty here. And just, it's remembered as silly, but he is not. He's playing it pretty straight the whole time.
You're absolutely right, and that's something I misremembered as well. But, like, yeah, Gene Hackman is made silly by Ned Beatty for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very goofy.
Why would you add that?
Everybody
else in the movie is silly.
Yeah.
Is Superman silly? He's not even like he's not a Man of Steel, like, serious, you know, like, trying to figure his way in the world. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's fun. He's cutting jokes. He's giving himself little pats on the back. He's having a good time with it.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to insert a clip of this so y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, and you can see it too. The scene when Superman saves the cat out of the tree. What a wild addition. What an absolutely wild choice.
No, everybody is finding it in that scene. It's really sweet until this bright-eyed little girl goes, as soon as she goes back in the front door of her house, is immediately like, Mom, I just saw the most incredible thing in my life. This guy flew in and saved my cat. And her mom, without missing a beat, just goes, what did I tell you about lying? And slaps her real hard. You can hear it from the street.
Bye.
Bye! Mommy! Frisky was stuck in the tree. This man swooped out of the sky and gave him to me.
Haven't I told you to stop telling lies?
The funniest scene I may have ever seen in a movie, unintentionally.
Wow. Like, what an addition.
It's so unnecessary. But that whole, like, sequence of, like, Superman just saving people and all that stuff, like, that is, if there's a negative I could find in Man of Steel, I wish that was in Man of Steel. I wish he was saving more people. I wish he was doing more of the goody two-shoes, you know, Christopher Reeve Superman that we get in there. Because it's just, I love it. I could watch that all day.
Just stopping robberies.
Yeah.
Leaving criminals without any due process in the hands of the cops, and they're just left to figure out what happened.
It's so great.
It really holds on that guy climbing the wall with suction cups for a while.
Yeah, it
before
does.
you see Superman.
It definitely does.
Where do we... All right. So what's Lex Luthor's plot? What's the big thing in this movie?
Real estate, baby.
Real estate.
Real estate.
It's free real estate.
I remember that, and I remember, like, seeing people joke about, like, oh my God, he's just a real estate tycoon and all this stuff, but it really is hilarious that's his plan.
He says real estate no less than 20 times.
Yeah.
It's baffling.
It's
Baffling that
baffling.
all the Superman stories you've had up until now, that's what you're like, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to do something that people can really get behind. Something that makes sense.
Also, like, so I don't get it, but I do get he's sending one to the fault line to, create a new beachfront property for himself.
Which is literally an American Dad plot.
But he's just also sending a missile to New Jersey.
Yeah, just
for no reason. Was there a reason, or did I miss it?
The whole time I was thinking when I saw the 2 missiles going, I was like, oh, he figured out where Superman's ship landed. He's going to send one to Smallville. That's what I thought it was going to be. And then he just goes neutral. I was like,
yeah,
sure is he?
I felt like I was an idiot. I was like, did I miss something here?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
And it just happened to be where Miss Moneypenny's mom lived.
Yeah.
That was what we needed to get him out of this.
Okay, last thing before we got to go in, the ending.
Oh, God.
I don't like it.
It was such a... Chris Reeves gave like a phenomenal, like, just broken man. Again, he could, just like his dad, you could see it in his eyes that, like, he's seeing his dad all over again. He couldn't save this woman he really cares about.
Yeah.
And what does he do? Does he use his X-ray vision to look inside her and, like, see if he can, you know, get her heart going again, or see if he can clear out her lungs? What does he do? None of that. He just flies up into the space with a tremendous roar and flies around the world so fast it reverses time. I mean,
I didn't like it as a kid. I don't like it now. I mean, to your point on what you just said, one, I would have loved it if Lois... I mean, I wouldn't have for the sequels, but I would have loved it if Lois had died. And the same thing, circling back to, like, his dad dying in a way he couldn't prevent. Lois died in a way he couldn't prevent. But I get if you can't do that. I would have also loved him taking her to a hospital and, you know, the doctors saving her life. Superman can't save her life, but the doctors
that would
do.
be fucking phenomenal.
That would be amazing, and it would show that he is letting go and letting others, you know, help people he cared about. Anything
other than flying back in time.
I hated that so much.
Did you hate it as much as him going back in time, like after he goes back in time, grabbing pork pie and Lex Luthor?
I'm sorry, Corn Cob. Don't disrespect the greatest role of Ned Beatty has ever played, next to the senator from Shooter.
When he grabs Rudy's dad and Lex Luthor and flies them over the prison walls and drops them in there, and he's like, "I got your guy. Here he is." And the warden or whoever just goes, "Who was it? Who is that guy?" He didn't recognize millionaire business tycoon Lex Luthor until he ripped off his wig and said, "It's me, Lex Luthor, the greatest."
But he didn't have a secret identity.
No, he just had a wig.
Which he wore all the time,
Yeah,
so
he
people
did.
would know him with the wig on.
What a bizarre way to finish that on that note. Was just awesome.
Yeah. But overall, like...
We're pooping on it a lot because it's funny.
Yeah.
It's an old movie. It's, you know, whatever. But, like, genuinely had a really fun time with it. Like, it's really fun. It's really endearing. Like, the score, the John Williams score of this movie is iconic.
That's what this movie. It's iconic.
It makes that movie, honestly. I think if you have like a Danny Elfman in there, giving him a more bouncy, fun, goofy score, this movie is not remembered the same way.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
It behind the scenes saves this movie from being completely,
I mean,
1960s Adam West Batman.
Yeah. I mean, you just smile every time you hear the theme song. You're just like, oh, it's just so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie's iconic, rightfully so. You know, it's rightfully remembered as fondly as it is. I don't want to watch it again anytime soon. It was really long. But it's like whenever I go back to it, I'll enjoy it. It's good.
Let's see if the second one holds up.
Let's get into it.